Hello everyone and welcome to another Blender tutorial. So today I'm going to be taking you through the process of making this motion graphic scene here, which is completely loopable. I'm going to be using some basic techniques. I will be making this blend file available on my Patreon, so you guys can check that out in the description below. And you guys can also follow me on Twitter, that's also in the description below. So let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so we're going to start by selecting all of the default objects in our scene. We're going to hit X and we're going to go delete. We're then going to go Shift A, we're going to go to our mesh options, we're going to add in a circle. Once you've added in the circle, we're going to go into our edit mode. And in edit mode, with all of these vertices here selected, we're going to go E to extrude and then S to scale. We're going to scale into about here, like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select this vertex over here, and you can go into wireframe if it makes it easier. Holding and shift select this guy, this one over here, and this one over here. So these four vertices are now selected. We're then going to get the middle ones in between each one of those. So it's going to be this one here, this one here, this one, and this one. So if I go S to scale, you can see we have every second or third one every third one I think selected. So it select one vertex and then you skip 3 vertices and you select a vertex, and it should all be nice and even. So what we're going to do is we're going to go S. We're going to first of all enable proportional editing, and we're going to make this sharp down here. And then we're going to go S to scale this in, but we're going to roll our middle mouse wheel down to shrink the fall off. So we're going to go with something like this. And then we're going to go Shift Alt and click on this to select all of these loops here. We're going to go S just to scale them up a little bit more. So each one's something that looks like this. We're then going to disable proportional editing. We're going to hit A to select all of these vertices, then E to extrude, and we're going to extrude it up to about here. So something of about this thickness should be fine. Tab out of edit mode. You're then going to go to your modifiers. We're going to add in a bevel modifier over here. We're going to come to the limit method, make it angle, and then come up here to the offset and just decrease the size on that. Then come here to the segment count and increase it to 3. And then on top of this, we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Come to your object and enable shade smooth with this object selected. So now we have this shape over here, and you can always come in here if you want and edit some of this geometry in here, but for now, just as an example, I'm going to leave it here. You can come to your bevel and you can add more segments in. You can decrease them if you want. Just mess around with it, including the offset here until you're happy with the result. So it really just depends. I think I'm just going to leave it at these settings here. So a segment of 3 and an offset of 0.02 should be fine. Okay, so once we've done this, made this cutter piece here, what we're going to do is we're going to go Shift A in our front orthographic view. So hit 1 to go in your front orthographic view. We're going to go Shift A, go to the mesh options, add in a cylinder. And then the cylinder, we're going to go S to scale it down. Then R90 and hit enter. And then G, and we're going to move it over here to our right in our front orthographic view. And then we're going to tab into edit mode. We're going to go to face select this face over here. And then go G, X, and just extrude it out. Or just move it out. So G, X, and just move it out to about here. Tab back into object mode, go to object and enable shade smooth. What we're going to do now is grab this guy, holding in shift, select this guy over here. Then we're going to go Control P, we're going to go set parent to object and keep transform. So now if we grab this rod here, we go G to move it, you can see that guy is following along. Okay, so that's really good. So what we're going to do next is make our cutter. Okay, actually, first of all, let's just grab this guy over here for now and go G, Z, and just bring it up to about here. Okay, just for now. Then we're going to go Shift A. We're going to go to our mesh options, just add in a cube real quick. And with this cube, we're going to hit 7 to go into our top orthographic view, then go G, X, and move it over to the side. And then we're going to just tab into edit mode real quick. Control R, add in a loop cut, double click, and then we're going to go Control B just to create a bevel about this much. Then we go X to delete those faces. Select this loop of faces here, or edges, and then go hit F to fill them in. And the same with this one here, hit F to fill that in. And then what we're going to do, in fact, let's just go and give this guy a mirror modifier and just get rid of the guy, one of these. So just add a mirror modifier, set it to Y and disable the X. And then we're just going to come and select these guys and just move them up to here. And we're just going to create this groove that this is going to be sitting in. So G, and you can go X and move it over to the side a bit. So do something like this, and then grab this face here, go E to extrude it up, select this face over here, and then also make sure you enable clipping on the mirror, and then go E to extrude, extrude it. It's going to connect to the other side here, go X and just delete that face. Now we can tab out of edit mode, and we're going to give this guy a bevel modifier as well. Make the limit method angle, and then decrease the offset here, and increase the segment count. So just giving it some nice beveled edges. Go to object and enable shade smooth. Okay, so now we have this guy over here. So this is where this guy is going to be inside of, going up and down. Okay, so we just want to place this guy roughly close to the top here, just like that. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to grab this cutter here, tab into edit mode. Make sure we're in our edge select here, and we're going to go Shift Alt, click on here to select this edge here. Shift D to duplicate, right click to let go, and then hit P. And we're going to separate by selection, tab out of edit mode. And now we've got this new object here. So this guy over here. So what we're going to do is tab into edit mode if this guy selected, hit A to select all of this geometry. Then we're going to go E to extrude and Z, and we're going to extrude it up on the Z to about here. Then we're going to hit F to fill in those faces. And we're just going to grab this bottom loop here and hit F to fill that in as well. And now we're going to take this object here. We're going to go Alt P, and we're going to go clear parent. Okay? And then we're going to grab this guy and go G and just move it down so it's sitting on our floor here. Just like that. And then we're also going to go Shift A. We're going to go add in a cylinder. Tab into edit mode. Grab this cylinder and go G, Z, and just bring it up till it's sitting on the floor here. And tab out of edit mode, and then go S just to scale it. Scale it down to about that height, just a little bit higher, just like that. Control A and apply the scale. Then you go to your modifiers, give this guy a bevel modifier, and then make the limit method angle as well. Decrease the offset here and increase the segment count. Go to object and enable shade smooth as well. Okay, now we're going to just actually grab this guy over here, go Shift D, Z, and just bring it up till it's sitting right here. Go S just to scale it up, and we're going to get rid of the bevel modifier. And we're going to actually go to our object properties here. We're going to go down to the motion or the viewport display, and we're going to make the display as down here wire. We're going to go to visibility, and we're going to make sure show in render is this unticked, so this won't show in any renders. And then holding in Shift, we're going to, with this guy selected, holding in Shift, we're going to select this rod here, Control P, and we're going to go Object, Keep Transform. So now if we grab this rod, we go G, Z, and move it up and down, you can see that all goes along. So what we're going to do now is select this object over here, and let's just quickly give it a temporary color. So I'm just going to give it a new material, and I'll call it just 1 for now. And I'm going to go down to my viewport display settings, and just give it a temporary color. So for now I might go something like an orange, and also just give that same material to this guy inside of here. So just that same material. And then what we're going to do is with this cylinder here selected, we're going to go to our modifiers, and on top of this bevel we're going to add a Boolean modifier. Click on a little eyedropper, and we're going to select this cutter object over here, which is this one here. And in fact we can even name this guy. So grab this guy, click on here, go up here, and just call it cutter. Okay, so now if we grab this rod and we go G, Z, and we bring it down, it's going to look like it's cutting that away. And it's going to look like it's pressing out that shape, which is exactly what we want, and we're going to be animating that. So let's quickly just, first of all, go Shift A, add in a plane. With this plane selected, we're going to go S8 to scale it up 8 times. Tab into edit mode, come over here, make sure you're in edge select, Control R hovering over here, and then roll in some loop cuts. It can be as many as you want. I'm going to do about this many, click them in, and then we're going to go Control B one more time and bevel them, and you're going to roll your middle mouse wheel 1 time to add in extra geometry. So 1 extra cut in the middle of all of these. Go Control minus to shrink the selection, then G, Z, and just bring it down. That's going to create these nice grooves. Tab out of edit mode, go Control A, make sure to apply to scale. Then we're going to give this guy a nice bevel modifier. Decrease the offset here and increase the segment count to about 5, go to object and enable shade smooth. So now we have this nice floor over here. Let's just give this floor a temporary material. I'm just going to call it floor. And I'm going to just come to my viewport display, and just so I can see what it looks like in the viewport, I'm going to make this a bit darker. Or maybe for now I won't, because it's just something like that. Okay. Then I'm going to grab this guy here, and for now let's just give it a material. Let's just call it 2, and just make the color whatever. We can mess around with it later. And okay, the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to be duplicating all of this over. So I'm also going to just give this guy a material. I'm going to call it metal. And I'm going to grab this guy over here and give it that same metal material. And once we've done that, I'm going to grab this guy, holding and shift select this guy over here, and this guy, and the floor. So everything essentially except that cutter and that shape in there. Go to your top orthographic view by hitting 7 on your number pad. Then you can go Shift D. And if you hold in Control, you can move this over here and snap it to the grid. So we're going to snap it right on the end here. And this is essentially a perfect duplicate of this scene over here. So what we're going to do now next is actually animate this guy going down, and then we're going to animate the camera moving over to the fresh scene, and the whole thing is going to loop again. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to select this rod over here, and we're going to come here to our timeline. We're going to make sure we're on frame 1, and on frame 1 with this guy selected, we're going to go I, and we're going to insert a location key. So you can see there's a yellow little keyframe added in here. Then we're going to come up to frame 50, and on frame 50 what we're going to do is we're going to go G, so go to your front orthographic view, then go G, Z, and move this guy down till it's just going into the floor here, so touching it, in fact just going a little bit into the floor, like that. Then we're going to go I, and we're going to insert a location key on frame 50, so this guy's going to be going down like this, right? And then we're going to have it hold, so what we're going to do is this rod's still selected. We're going to select this keyframe here. You can see we drag over it, select it, go Shift D, and just drag this over to frame 70. So this guy's going to come down, have a hold for a second, and then we're going to come to frame 110, and we'll just grab this frame here. So just grab this frame on frame 1, go Shift D, and drag it up to frame 110. So what's going to happen here, if we go back to frame 1 and we play, it's going to come down, and then it's going to go up. But what we need to do here is make sure we grab this guy over here, and what we want to do is we want to come down to frame 50. And in frame 50 we want to go I and insert a location key with this cutter selected on frame 50. Insert a location key. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to go to frame 70. We want to go I and insert a location key. And then we want to go to frame 110, but on frame 110, we want to grab this guy, go G, Z, and bring it down all the way till it's touching the floor there, or just a little bit into the floor. And we're going to go I and insert a location key. So now, if we have a look at it, we go to frame 1, and we play this, it's going to come down, it's going to cut the shape out, it's going to come back up, and it's going to look like it's completely seamless, which is exactly what we want. And then what we're going to do is just come here to our end frame. So we're going to make it 170. So that's how long our animation is going to be. And during this time here, that's where our camera is going to move. So let's quickly add in a camera. So we're going to come in here, and I'm going to look at my scene. So I'm going to be positioned like this. I'm going to go Shift A, add in a camera. Okay, so we should add in a camera there. With the camera selected, hit 0. That's going to take you into camera view. G, and then middle mouse button, and just pull back to zoom your camera out to about here. You can hit G to move it, G, middle mouse button to zoom out. Go to your camera settings, make the type an orthographic camera. Come over here to your output settings, and we're going to make the Y resolution 1920 and hit enter. I'm also going to come to the percentage here, and I'm just going to make mine 70 so it doesn't take so long to render. Okay, once that's done, you can, with your camera selected, double tap R to rotate it. You can hit G to move it, but just essentially get something that you like. So I'm going to go something like this for now. And I can see here with my cutter, I need to actually bring it in a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to come here to frame 70. Frame 70, I'm just going to go G, Z, and bring it down even a little bit more, and go I to insert a location key. So just have a look at that. And on frame 110, Just going to go G, Z, just bring it in a little bit deeper, I, and insert a location key, just so we don't see any of that original object there. Okay, and also with this cutter, we can just hit M and go New Collection and call this collection Cutters. Go OK, and then we can come over here to our Scene Collections and just hide that object so you don't actually see it. It's just going to look a lot cleaner. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a empty, we're going to add in a cube, and we're going to, with this cube empty selected, we're going to go S8, and we're going to scale it up 8 times and hit enter. So it's going to be the exact same dimensions as our plane here, so you can see the floor. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the camera, holding in Shift, select the empty. We're going to go Control P, and we're going to go Object, Keep, Transform. So now if we grab this empty, we go G, that camera is parented. So what we're going to do is essentially go into our camera view, and we're just going to play for our animation. So let's come over here. So we're going to drag our slider here. We're going to see the animation playing out. And we want to wait till this guy comes up to about here at frame 110. And frame 110, with this empty selected, we're going to go I, insert a location key. And then we're going to come to frame 160. And on frame 160, we're going to go to our top orthographic view, and we're going to go G with this empty selected and hold in Control and just move it and snap it over here to the side. So it's snapped right on top of this floor here. And then we're going to go I, and we're going to insert a location key. So now this guy is going to move. So if we go into our camera view, we're actually going to see it move to a fresh scene, and the whole thing just repeats. So this is going to make it look loopable, so it can keep going for an infinite amount of times, and it'll look completely seamless. And that's also why we added in our materials, our temporary materials. So what we're going to do in the next scene is just add in some lighting and some materials, and then we'll render this out as a final animation. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to go to our render settings. We're just going to come here and enable ambient occlusion and also screen space reflections. We're then going to go Shift A. We're going to go add in a light. We're going to add in an area light. And with this area light, we're going to go G, Z, and just move it up to here. And for now, let's just grab this empty as well, hit M, and just move it to that cutter collection so we don't see it, but it'll still work, so you don't have to worry. But just to clean up our scene a bit. So we're going to grab this light, and we're going to go to our light settings and just increase the size here to about 6 meters. We're also going to increase the power, so let's just increase the power here to about 500. Let's hit Z and go into rendered view, and we can see this is what we have. So let's just go to our front view here, and then go R to rotate it. Move it out here a little bit. So go into your camera view and see what it looks like. So just mess around with your light till you get something that you like. So then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate it, bring this guy over here, rotate it in a bit. And we're just trying to get a nice lighting setup. I might bring the strength down a little bit. And then grab this guy, go Shift D, and make one from behind here. It's just really simple lighting setup here. Just something like this. So let's quickly go into our material editor. So grab any one of these objects, go into our shading here, and we're going to go Z, go into rendered, and go into camera view. And with this guy here selected, we're going to go and make that material a nice kind of orange. Bring it down a little bit, maybe a little bit more saturated. Bring the roughness down that a little bit, and that should be okay. We're going to grab our floor here, and we did create that temporary material earlier. So let's just give it a color. We're going to make it black. I'm going to bring that roughness down a bit as well. We're then going to grab this metal material here, and let's just make this metallic value all the way up to 1, and bring that roughness in a bit. And that's looking pretty nice. Might bring the roughness in even a little bit more, make it a bit more reflective. Then let's select this guy over here, and let's just call that material let's just make it something that complements this. So I think something, maybe something like this. That looks okay to me. You guys can make it whatever you want, totally up to you. I'm just going to go something like that. And if we can see over here, it should all be on this side as well, because we added, before we duplicated these objects, we added little placeholder materials. So that should all look the same on the other side. So all we have to do now actually, is this is for now quickly enable that cutter layer again where our empty is. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we go back to our layout. Make sure you're on frame 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to select all 3 of these lights here. And then holding in Shift, we're going to select the empty. We're going to go Control P. I'm going to go to Object and keep the transform. So now all of these lights are parented to that empty. So we can hide that cutter layer again. So now, if we go into rendered view and we play this animation, our lights will be the exact same when they come to our fresh scene again. And that's going to make this look completely loopable. So we won't have any sort of funny glitching or anything. So this is looking really, really cool. I'm really happy with the results, and you guys can spend as much time as you want. So I'm going to quickly show you how we can render this out as a final animation. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here to our output settings. We come down to output, click on this folder. I'm just going to select my desktop as the place where I want my video to be. Go to your file format. We're going to make it an FFmpeg video. Go to the encoding, and we're going to make the container an MP4 And once you've done that, you can just go File, make sure you save this file, and then you can go to Render and click on Render Animation. It'll render this animation out to your folder that you've selected. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and check out some of my stuff. Support me on Patreon if you want, and also you can check me out on Instagram. I really do appreciate it, and stay safe.